On the news tonight, Anambra State government disassociates itself from purported preliminary autopsy report on death of Mrs. ILOKA. Mrs. Soludo restates indispensable roles of youths in society. Federal government moves to boost wheat production to meet increasing demand. Japan moves to expand military capacity. Before the news in detail, here's a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good evening. My name is Uche Chukwu Ebonam. Anambra State government has distanced itself from the purported preliminary autopsy report said to have been conducted on late Mrs. Chidebere ILOKA, wife of Mr. Mbasulike ILOKA, wife of the suspended Transition Committee chairman of Nnewi North Local Government Area in the state. In a statement jointly signed by Professor Silva Ifemeje, Commissioner for Justice, Attorney General, Dr. Afam Obidike, Commissioner for Health, and Mrs. Ifeyinwa Binabo, Commissioner for Women and Children Affairs, the state government declared that no conclusive autopsy report has been issued by the team of pathologists that conducted the examination. We have details.
The statement further noted that sequel to the petition, the state government, giving its zero tolerance for domestic violence, decided to take every necessary step to ensure justice for both the dead and Mr. ILOKA. It said the group had a meeting on August 16th where it was agreed that the test results would be processed ready within 2 to 6 weeks, stating that as of Tuesday 30th August, the result of toxicology is still being awaited. The statement revealed that barely 24 hours after the autopsy process began and samples for laboratory tests taken, the same elder brother surprisingly went and swore an affidavit claiming that the autopsy was concluded and that the pathologist revealed that the sister was not killed and that the family has resolved to discontinue the case. Similarly, according to the statement, the father of the deceased, Chief Emmanuel Ezewanya, was said to have, on the 19th August 2022, written to the Inspector General of Police and copied to the Governor of Anambra State, Commissioner of Women Affairs, State Commissioner of Police, also claiming that his daughter was not murdered or beaten up, and urged the IGP to discontinue the case. It, however, maintained that there is no autopsy result agreed to by the pathologists that concluded the autopsy, noting that what the pathologist representing the family issued as preliminary result remains his personal opinion, and the consultant pathologists appointed by government, they associated themselves from such. It explained that since it is a criminal matter which is against the state, it will pursue it to a logical conclusion and ensure that justice is served. It noted that the action of the deceased family has indeed compromised the integrity of the autopsy examination outcome, and therefore announced that the government pathologists stand withdrawn and charged the police to conduct a thorough investigation on the matter.
Wife of Anambra State Governor Mrs. Nonye Soludo has stated that her husband, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, is one man who understands and appreciates the invaluable place of youths in modern-day governance. Mrs. Soludo, who said this in Oka, explained that the current administration's investment in youth is propelled by Governor Soludo's belief that young people are the engine of any developed and working economy. Dan Ezigwe has details.
According to the governor's wife, her husband has engaged in deliberate policies that prioritize the values of and accommodate all Anambra youths as important units in the development blueprint of the state. She noted that by giving youth the opportunity to be actively involved in governance, the present administration is strategically arming them with the fundamental capacity of both today's and tomorrow's Anambra state. Mrs. Soludo noted that youths have proven to be key players in the achievement of a decent society, and understanding that her husband's administration is not only maximizing but perfecting in every way. The governor's wife also praised the potentials of Anambra youths both at home and in diaspora and described them as the pride and pillars of the state. In Oka, Daniel Ezigwe, ABS News.
Hardship experienced by commuters plying Old Onitsha-Enugu Road, especially the flooded area at Ogidi, Idemili North Council area, is now over, following intervention by the Soludo administration to rechannel the flood water on the road. Works correspondent Ngozi Bleri visited the site to monitor pace and level of intervention already done by the state government and reports.
Arrived the site, it was observed that drainage channel in and around the catchment pit have been cleared, which allowed water to flow freely into the catchment pit. Swamp boogie machine was also seen dredging the pit, which was looking expanded since the flag off of the work by Governor Soludo, while a dredger was also placed at a strategic position to remove water from the pit to another pit behind it so that water level would not exceed the pit. Speaking to the ABS, a resident of Irendia Gogidi, Mr. Chiwetalo Ifediora, said they are happy that intervention has come so that they can sleep with their two eyes closed, but appealed for a permanent solution to the flooding challenge on the road, as according to him, they have experienced untold hardship since the pit was created.
His Excellency Soludo, now you're here, I can never. But if I maybe just here, maybe. So now, I know I will be hope. Telling I can hear one of no problem. Remember, and I am if I go the other side, no crown or whatever. My own I got or do I see it to order before. So I need to let.
Another resident, Mr. Obin Naifezuora, regretted that the flood water coming from neighboring communities into the pit is above the capacity of the pit, which is why the road is always overflowed whenever it rains heavily. He called on the state government to check indiscriminate dumping of refuse inside the drainage by traders at Afoigwe Market, as according to him, the refuse always blocks the drainages, which is a major challenge to the area.
How will I tell you that? Take away I mean, I there, also I attend in there. See where millions of 1 week for the junior. Now the best thing we
ABS witnessed illegal dumping of refuse inside the drainage and along the road, even while the dredging was ongoing. From Ogidi in Idemili North Council area, I am Ngozi Obileri for ABS News.
Engineer Emeka Okonkwo has formally assumed office as new Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Anambra Traffic Management Agency, ATMA. The former Transition Committee Chairman of Dunukofe Local Government Area was last week appointed to head the state's traffic regulatory agency by Governor Chukwuma Soludo. Dan Ezigwe has details.
Speaking shortly before handing over official documents to the new Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, the outgoing ATMA boss, Mr. Patrick Obiofuna, said that Engineer Okonkwo is coming into the new position with wealth of experience, having done excellently well in the same area in the past. He also explained to the new MD CEO important details of the job, including staff capacity, areas of crucial coverage, and ATMA offices across Anambra State, expressing optimism that he will succeed.
Here, worth the while. And I do look forward that you extend all the support that he needs to make his tenure better than my own. I only want to hope that you will support him to make his stay here smooth.
Addressing staff of the agency, the new ATMA MD CEO, Engineer Okonkwo, said that his first mandate is to restore zero traffic on all Anambra roads and asked every employee of the organization to step up and understand that it is no longer business as usual. He sought collaboration with every hand in the agency and explained that his target is to carry everyone along with the sole aim of achieving results as is contained in the official directive from the state government. Engineer Okonkwo, while thanking Governor Chukwuma Soludo for finding him worthy of the new job, pledged to put in his best.
He commended the outgoing MD a lot, said so much about what he has done to ATMA, how ATMA was before he came in. He has given us big shoes to fill in. We are expected to make the shoes bigger for the next person. I'm walking in here today, nobody knows when I'm going to step out. But for this sojourn I'm going to spend with you people, it must not be business as usual anymore. But when I come into work, we all work seriously. And I expect, and I know that we are all going to work together in harmony. Three of us, we are getting into work immediately.
The new Atma boss, shortly after the formalities for official assumption, went into crucial meeting with unit supervisors and other senior personnel of the agency. In Oka, Daniel Ezigwe, ABS News.
Nimo community in Njikoka local government area has kicked off activities to mark the 2022 annual Iwaji festival, known in the town as Alomo. The event, which kicked off with a holy mass, took place at the Owele Palace of the traditional ruler of the town, Iwe Magse Ike Oliobi, and was attended by dignitaries including the Chief Whip, Anambra State House of Assembly, and member representing Njikoka Constituency 2, Honorable Pete Ibida. Correspondent Blessed Dennis reports.
Yeah.
Other attendees at the event were the traditional Prime Minister of Nimo, retired Justice G.U. Ononeba, accompanied by Ndinze Nozo, the President General of Nimo, Mr. Ekene Okafor, the clergy, cabinet members, and other sons and daughters of the town. In his homily during the Mass, a guest priest, Reverend Father Wilfred Ike, offered prayers of thanksgiving to God for a fruitful harvest, describing Igwe Oliobi as a great king who knows the value of tradition and prayed God to bless the community. Opening the ceremony, Igwe Oliobi walked around his palace with his royal regalia to supervise the roasting of new yam and its sauce in local parlance known as Oba, as well as declaring it ready for consumption. Speaking at the event, the Chief Whip of the State House of Assembly, Chief Ibida, who described yam as the king of all crops, said that the new yam festival usher in orderliness in the community and sustains the beautiful bond between the people and their ancestors.
There is time for planting, there is time for harvest. This is place we demonstrate how bountiful the harvest is.
In an interview, the President General of Nimo, Mr. Ekene Okafor, and a prominent son of the community, Chief Chuks Ide, said that the culture of yam cultivation is an age-long tribute of the Igbos which has successfully transcended from generations to generations. In their various remarks, the wife of the monarch, Mrs. Theodora Oliobi, known as Iyom Ocheze, Mrs. Nkoli Chukura, known as Iyom Irugo, as well as Mrs. Vivian Ajoku, Iyom Ugodia, made it clear that culture has its dynamic nature and that when culture is lost, every other thing is gone, and stressed that culture is a symbol of identity of every person in Igbo land.
Today, we are celebrating the New Yam Festival. Normally, it's a mark of new season. Igwe of this town, Maximus Oliobi, Gabia, where Waji, nya ekpeche ekpele niya, Elienya Buchi, Elisienya, then Ndini Moni na zeho de Libezieji.
The Iwaji, as I know it, is celebration of New Yam Festival. This is done every year to thank the gods for giving us, new crops. So it's done before we start eating the new year.
Earlier, Igwe Oliobi expressed satisfaction with the sustainability of Nimo culture and tradition, even as he prayed and thanked God for a fruitful farming season, peace and unity in the state and country at large, urging Nimo people in the diaspora to always visit home and participate in the festival.
In our local language, Alomo Nimo. One diaspora is not even to come and witness. I should only have to go now, Benia. I will not diaspora. I have to go to Nibo. Oblindimo, Hanatanimo. Everybody have Wakudo. I told how Moko and everybody have Waku. So, no, you have to go to suppose you know, Jamaica and impact.
The event featured an area of masquerade performances, dance from different groups, paying of homage to Igwe Oliobi, as well as cash donations to Nimo sons who participated in the cultivation of yams in this year's season. From Nimo, in Njikoka local government area, I am Blessing Dennis reporting for ABS News.
Still to come in the news tonight, federal government moves to boost wheat production to meet increase in demand. Japan moves to expand military capacity. The Anambra cannot allow criminal elements to hold the state and the people to ransom. Donate generously to the Anambra State Security Trust Fund, which has been set up to raise money for combating insecurity in the state. Stay tuned, the news returns after the break.
Traveling? You deserve the absolute best. Enjoy maximum comfort in our new buses with more legroom, reclinable seats, onboard entertainment, and much more. Pick your preferred seat. Choose your preferred schedule. Travel on your terms. Ready for a premium ride driven by the best captains out there? Book now.
Welcome back to the news. The federal government has said Nigeria spent 6 billion naira on the importation of wheat into the country between 2016 and 2020, a period of 5 years. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mahmood Abubakar, who disclosed this in Abuja, said that with the growing population and consumption rate of wheat and its products, Nigeria had no option than to boost its productivity to meet the country's increasing demand. Abubakar said the wheat industry has been of serious concern to the federal government, adding that the national requirement for wheat is 5.7 million metric tons annually, while the production is 420,000 metric tons. The minister, however, noted that the draft national wheat strategy document was developed as a policy framework to increase production, incomes, and the competitiveness in local production for smallholder wheat farmers. On business, the federal government has put the estimated amount required to bridge Nigeria's gas infrastructure deficit at $2 billion annually. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Temipro Silva, disclosed this at the inauguration of the Governing Council of the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund. He said in a key cause of poor gas production, gas flaring, and low domestic gas utilization was the gas infrastructure deficit across the country. Chief Silva therefore charged the 9-member council to work seriously to mobilize funds for the provision of the critical infrastructure for the gas industry. He said the council would drive economic development and prosperity for the nation and its partners in accordance with the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. Silva noted that though the federal government had put in place several programs towards achieving the decade of gas initiatives and developing the huge gas potentials of the country, the missing link was the absence of the basic gas infrastructure to help realize the objectives. Japan says it would develop and mass produce a cruise missile and a high-velocity ballistic missile as part of a military expansion aimed at dealing with threats from China and Russia. The procurement plan unveiled in the Defense Ministry's annual budget request was short on detail but presents a clear departure from a decade-long range limit imposed on Japan's constitutionally constrained self-defense force. Alarm about China's regional ambitions has intensified after it held large-scale military exercises that included firing ballistic missiles after U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan earlier this month. 5 of the missiles landed in water less than 160 kilometers from Japan. Tokyo also has long-running territorial disputes with Beijing and Moscow over the Senkaku Islands known as Daeho in China and the northern territories known as the Kuril Islands in Russia. The Defense Ministry also maintained the risk to Japan posed by North Korea, which has carried out an unprecedented number of weapon tests this year. And right on sport. Head coach of the Super Falcons, Randy Waldron, has selected 4 players from Nigeria's under-20 girls that reached the quarterfinal at the just concluded FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Costa Rica. The Super Falcons of Nigeria have arrived in Kansas City, Kansas, United States for the double-header friendly with the United States women's national team. The Super Falcons will play the first of their 2-match tour at the Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City on Saturday, September 3rd. Nigeria and the USWNT have qualified for the FIFA Women's World Cup, which will be hosted by Australia and New Zealand between July and August 2023. Both teams will clash again at the Audi Field in Washington, D.C., 3 days after the first match in Kansas on Tuesday, September 6. The 4 under-20 players are defenders Oluwatosin Demihan and Rafiat Imoran, and midfielders Esther Oyenezide and Deborah Abiodun. Home-based professionals Christy Oheriako, Akudo Obuna and Gift Monday were also included in the squad. Before we go tonight, remember that you can follow news and program on ABS TV from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television, OKA. You can go on to subscribe to our YouTube channel at ABS Television, OKA. Follow us on Instagram at ABS TV. You can also go on and log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And now the main points that made the news tonight again. Anambra State government has disassociated itself from purported preliminary autopsy report on death of Mrs. ILOKA. Mrs. Soludo has restated indispensable roles of youths in society. Federal government is to boost wheat production to meet increase in demand. And finally, we told you from the foreign scenes that Japan has initiated measures to expand military capacity. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. That's all on the news tonight. My name is Uchechukwu Ibunam. Thank you so much for staying with us. Good night.